Welcome to Autism, God's Bright Kids, a show by angelarts.biz. Here on this podcast show, you will find encouragement in the midst of the challenge of autism. We will share stories of how God works in the midst of those affected by autism, as well as how He uses ordinary people to do extraordinary things. Because there is hope, there is life, there is love in the midst of autism. And here is your host, Dana Susan Beasley.
I am your host, Dana Susan Beasley, and welcome to God's Bright Kids. It's April 23rd, 2024, and I'm recording this show in Colorado Springs, Colorado, where it is a nice, beautiful spring day. I think it's on the cool side. I don't know. I have not been outside, actually. So, anyway, I'm excited to share with you today about emotional intelligence and how it can help you and how it can help your child with autism, or if you are autistic yourself. But before I share that, let me just say, first of all, if you would like to know more about play-based learning and how that can help you as a parent, how that can help you as an individual, then go to my site, lostartofplay.com, and you will find the book that I wrote there. Also, you will find some resources there too, like some ideas about play, and as well as the first chapter for free. So check that out at lostartofplay.com. Now, last week I mentioned that I was looking at buying a guitar, and after I had recorded my podcast, my son and I went out to the Guitar Center. And I told them that I decided I was not going to repair my Ovation. And lo and behold, that guitar was still there. And I remember I was praying, before I left, I was praying, God, if you want me to have that guitar, let it still be there. And I had read a psalm that talked about how God will smile on you. And I always like to read the Message version of the Psalms every day. And so I just kept asking God that He would smile on me, and sure enough, He did. There it was. And I played it on the amplifier and loved it, and it's so gorgeous. I'm so excited. So at some point, I think I'll record a song that I wrote. I haven't decided which one, and I will play it for you. But I've run out of time because last weekend, Sam and I went up to Estes Park because our other big area of interest is Bigfooting. And there was a Bigfoot conference, and I had to enter a Bigfoot calling contest. And I won second place. So that was pretty exciting. I got a trophy for Bigfoot calling. Yep, it's true. So we had a great time, and we came back Sunday night. And so trying to catch up, lots going on. So here I am recording this a half an hour before it's supposed to come out. All right, so now, with all that out of the way, let me talk about artificial intelligence. It's something that's pretty new to me. I had explored the idea last week when I was doing my marketing, and it was really interesting. So I thought there's a lot of application, obviously, towards autistic folks and parents of autistic kids. And I thought it could be helpful. So I'm just kind of going to stumble my way through all these various notes I have. So bear with me, and I'm going to take a sip of water. All right, and hopefully my dog doesn't go crazy downstairs because he's acting like a spaz. But, that's the way it goes with many Aussies. Okay, so let's talk about artificial intelligence and what it is. So let me find the right note. Here I have. Okay, so going on this journey to develop emotional intelligence, it's kind of daunting, and it involves navigating through some challenges. And that involves learning to manage your own emotions. And so helping your child, if that's the case, if you're a parent, learning to manage their own emotions. And I will tell you that I have not been good at that because I learned to stuff down my emotions because I wasn't really allowed to feel when I was growing up. It's really important to let your child, to let yourself feel these emotions. And then it also involves deciphering the emotions of others, which is really difficult for some autistic people, and to effectively communicate their feelings. Now, that also can be very difficult. My son, thank God, is really good at it. In fact, he's better than I am. So it's really important to remember that when you encounter struggles, whether with yourself or with your child, it's a step forward. Just look at it that way. And when I found this information about emotional intelligence, it gave me a lot of hope because I had this challenge come up for me. A memory was triggered by an event that happened or will happen in the future. And I had to use this. It really helped to use this method to get through my feelings. So you might have hurdles, and that's totally normal. Because just remember that enhancing emotional intelligence in you and your children holds immense value. So by honing these skills, you're going to equip yourself and your children with invaluable tools to help them navigate through life situations with grace and resilience. And that can be personal relationships to professional endeavors. It plays a vital role in fostering understanding, empathy, and effective communication. So there will be challenges, like I said, in going through and learning emotional intelligence, but embrace those. Each obstacle is an opportunity for growth and learning, and it brings you one step closer to mastering it, and one step closer for your kids to master it. And that helps you experience the transformative power in your life. So it's a quest that I personally have been looking forward to and have been exploring, trying, and it really has helped me with my moods and stress and some trauma that I experienced. So just remember, though, no matter how challenging it gets, God is always by your side, and He's helping and leading and guiding you. So that is a little bit about that. And let's talk a little bit more about navigating this journey. So it can feel like an uphill battle to manage your emotions. It's very complex, especially hard for some autistic people to understand others, to communicate effectively. But remember, again, every obstacle you encounter along this journey is actually a step forward. And remind your kids of that if you are coaching your kids through this. So, like I said, it's well worth the effort. And there's invaluable tools that will help you with grace and resilience. Help your kids with grace and resilience. So, are you excited to go on this quest? And this, I'm just barely, I'm sure, cracking the surface of this. Like I said, I wasn't that familiar with it. And I was doing marketing, and I came across this idea, and I started learning. It was really, really interesting. All right, let's talk about the common mistakes made while enhancing emotional intelligence. So first of all, do you find yourself, or does your child frequently grapple with feelings of being misunderstood or struggling to effectively communicate your thoughts, their thoughts, and emotions to others? I know that I have struggled greatly with this. That's been a huge struggle for me, and I was in the habit of stuffing my emotions down with food, which is not healthy, and I'm trying to reverse that. It's a tough journey, but I know that it's worth it. Developing emotional intelligence is crucial in navigating interpersonal relationships and fostering understanding and empathy. And fostering understanding and empathy is crucial in your relationship with your child, or with anybody with autism, or with anybody, period, but especially with somebody who is on the spectrum. So it's essential to recognize and avoid some common pitfalls that hinder effective communication and connection. So here's some ideas to steer clear of. Neglecting others' feelings. Empathy forms a cornerstone of emotional intelligence, or EI. So if I say EI, that's what it means. You need to train your children to, and this is tough, to consider the emotions and perspective of others. And if you don't, that could lead to misunderstandings and strained relationships. I know before we realized that my husband had Asperger's, autism, he's not been officially diagnosed, but it really helped us both. It helped me understand him more and have more patience, and it helped him understand others, how they might view him talking about one thing over and over and over again. Like, he likes to talk about buildings. Well, there were times when we'd be talking to another couple after church or something, and you could see their eyes glaze over, and he just kept on and on and on and on, and he had no idea, because he couldn't read social cues, he had no idea that what he said had gone over his head. I mean, my husband's very intelligent, and he's very detailed and thorough, and his obsession is buildings, like I said, so they had no idea. But once we started to figure all this out, he realized that he has to put a cap on talking about that certain thing or whatever it is he's obsessed with. Usually it's buildings. But he needs to limit that and realize how another person might feel about it. And he has come to recognize that. So he has grown in that way, and that's definitely fostered deeper connections. And it's helped grow in mutual understanding between us. It's really helped us with that, and it's helped us grow better friendships now. So another pitfall is avoiding conflict. It's a tough one too. Conflict avoidance, it might seem like a temporary solution to maintain harmony, but it often results in unresolved issues and resentment. So instead of shying away from conflict, approach it with an open mind and a willingness to engage in constructive dialogue. And this is where I love Love and Logic parenting training, because it helped me learn how to communicate. I was not good at that either. It's not about you did this or you did that. It's about when you did such and such, I feel such and such. I hear my dog whimpering downstairs. Anyway, sorry. But addressing conflicts directly can lead to resolution and strengthen relationships in the long run, especially important in your family. There are some people that is just not possible with, and they're toxic, and, you just need to let them go. That is definitely the case. But avoiding conflict as a chronic behavior is not a good thing, but learning how to handle it is good. And so learning that for yourself and helping your kids learn that is very important. All right, overreacting. Reacting impulsively or disproportionately to situations can undermine effective communication and escalate tensions. And I know I've seen this pattern in me. If I don't address what's bothering me at the time, then it will build and build and build and build until I'm like a tea kettle boiling, and my temper will come out. And so I have been learning to quote unquote, catch the foxes. Song of Solomon talks about catch the foxes. Catch those irritants, the little things, before they become big things, because what happens is that if you let things build, then something will trigger that emotion you've been suppressing, and it will be a mountain out of a molehill. It really wasn't that last thing that happened. It was the whole shebang. And we just ignored it and let it build. I am guilty of that. It's something that I am trying to learn to overcome. So, emotional regulation, we need to practice emotional regulation by taking a step back to assess the situation calmly before responding. And think about this. Will it matter in a year from now? Will you even remember, like if you're having an argument with your husband, are you going to remember, what he did, what she did with your child? Is this a battle? Is this a hill to die on? Or is this something to let go of? Like, for instance, I'm going to use hair as an example. Sam grew his hair out during 2020 because he refused to go to a hairdresser and wear a mask. I was fine with that, but he grew his hair out. I personally love it, but if that was something that bothered me, I don't think that I would make that a hill to die on and just make him get his hair cut, especially when he's 18, something like that. So you need to find what are the battles that are worth fighting for. For me, when Sam was like 3 or 4, he stole a little pen from Office Max, and I discovered it when we got home. I marched him right back to that store, and I made him apologize to the store clerk. And it was really tough, but I made him do it. I'm laughing when I think about it now, but I know that gave him that sense of right and wrong that he has. That was one of the things, because that was, to me, a hill to die on. You don't steal. And I gave him the opportunity to learn that lesson, and that was invaluable. So, cultivating, let's see, where am I? I've lost myself in my notes. What you need to do instead of overreacting is cultivate self-awareness. Oh, that's really hard for me. I know. It's hard for me. I'm sure it's hard for some people on the spectrum, but that's the tool that you need and your children need to cultivate self-awareness, to understand your triggers. I had a big trigger last week with something that happened in the past involving an event happening next week, and I had to work through that. And sometimes those triggers are so deep that you actually need healing of memories, you need soul healing, because sometimes that trauma can actually heal your soul. But that's another discussion. I'm just going to focus in on emotional intelligence. But this will help you. Cultivating self-awareness will help you develop healthier coping mechanism. Like I said, my coping mechanism was not good. And that's partly why I am obese. And I'm working on, losing that weight and not using that as a coping mechanism. It's tough. Okay, so another pitfall is not being assertive enough. There's another really difficult thing that I've been learning since I was probably 18. Assertiveness is a key component of EI. It allows you to communicate your needs and boundaries effectively while respecting those of others. And again, I find love and logic language, the teaching there is so good, because you learn to say, I don't like it when I would prefer if, I need, blah, etc., etc. Helping your child to learn those communication, skills, and for you to model it, for you to learn it yourself, will go a long ways to help you not being assertive enough. So if you are not assertive, if your child is not assertive, it can lead to feelings of resentment and powerlessness. Oh, I know this one so well. Oh, there's been so many times when I felt so voiceless and powerless. And that is a horrible place to be in. And so you want to empower yourself and your children to assertively communicate by expressing yourself confidently and respectfully. respectfully and advocating your needs, advocating the needs of your children, very important with especially in education, is knowing how to advocate for your child. Extremely important. So assertiveness is an important trait for you to grow in and for your children. So by acknowledging and addressing these common mistakes, we can take significant strides toward honing our EI and fostering more meaningful connections with those around us. And it's going to help you foster a connection with your child. I know that's one of the reasons why my son and I have such a good connection, is because we've been doing that. Just, I wasn't told to do that. It was just intuition, I guess. So, and Sam is very good at communicating, which I'm very thankful for. But remember, it's an ongoing journey, and it requires self-reflection, practice, and a commitment to growth. All right, so there's that. I'm just going through all my notes that I have. So again, why are we doing this? Because it's a crucial factor in personal growth and success. That's what EI is going to do for you and your children. And this is going to apply to whether you're in business, as a homeschooling mother, if you are, as a parent, a special needs child, for your children on the spectrum, if you are on the spectrum yourself. All right, now the last thing I'm going to share with you is some ways that you can, some simple steps to get you started on the path to improving your emotional intelligence. And again, I am just barely breaking the surface. I'm sure that you can research this and go on a deeper dive, and it will be very beneficial. All right. Number one step is to understand your emotions, to help your children understand their emotions. And believe me, I know for me, that's very hard. I have to keep checking in with myself. How do I feel? How do I feel? How do I feel? But if you don't do this, just as a adult now, over half a century old, I could tell you that having people in my life who did not allow me to have emotions, it did not do me any favors, and it was tough to grow out of that, and it's still hard. So this is really important. The first step to developing EI is to become aware of your own emotions and to help your child become aware of their emotions, and probably for you to be aware of their emotions. Take the time to identify what you're feeling, what they're feeling, and why. And I don't remember what it's called, but I think it's called story cards. I think that's where that tool would be very, very helpful. So help them. In fact, I know there's these cards where they have faces of joy, sadness, anger, fear. Go through that with your child. That is a very helpful tool. My mind is just totally blanked out what it's actually called. But if you understand the root cause of your emotions, that's going to help you respond to them in a healthier way. And remember, I've always heard that at the root of anger is hurt. So if your child or you are especially angry, take a step back and think about, what are they hurt about? All right, manage your reactions. That's the second step. Once you understand your emotions, the next step is to learn how to manage your reactions to them. So instead of reacting impulsively, and this is going to take a lot of work, especially if you have a child who has impulsivity problems. I know that Sam used to have these rage fits, and that was difficult to manage. But take a moment to pause and reflect before responding. I know it's hard, but try to do that between you and your child, and try to train your child to pause and reflect. And then give them tools, give yourself some tools like deep breathing, counting to 10. Help them to stay calm in challenging situations. And here, fight or flight. That that is where the fight or flight comes in. We either, when presented with a threat, we will either fight our way out of it or run away. And that is something that we do unconsciously, but help your child and learn yourself how to instead pause and be calm. Don't react, respond. All right, the number 3 step to recognizing others is the number 3 step to EI, enhancing EI, is to recognize others' emotions. Oh my gosh, I can't speak. Recognize others' emotions. Now, I know this is really difficult. Again, that's where those story cards are going to help. So EI isn't just about understanding yourself. It's also about recognizing and empathizing with the emotions of others. Help them understand nonverbal cues. This is so hard for some on the spectrum, I know. Facial expressions, body language, tone of voice. That's so tough. In fact, here's an idea. Do some role playing. That is a fantastic way to get them to understand other people's emotions and to help you if you have a struggle with that. So empathy is a cornerstone of healthy relationships and effective communication. And it's really going to be the cornerstone for you as a parent, if you are a parent. So important. I think that my ability to have empathy is one of the reasons why Sam and I have a really good relationship. All right, number 4 step, and I'm kind of hurrying through this. Respond empathetically. Once you've recognized someone else's emotions, respond to them with empathy and understanding. Put yourself in their shoes and validate their feelings. And this is so important as a parent. Again, I didn't get this growing up. My feelings were invalidated all the time. And so it wasn't good. So practice, be a model. Practice active listening, validation, and support. And that's going to go a long way to help others feel heard and understood. So practice that, model it, get that for yourself. Now my dog is barking at something. Okay. Probably mailman or package delivery or something. So anyway, do this with your child. Is so, so important. All right. The 5th step to enhancing EI is to enhance social interactions. Again, a tough thing for those on the spectrum, but it's so valuable. Work on enhancing your social interactions and their social interactions by applying your newfound emotional intelligence skills. You know, I think the library has they probably call it autism now. They used to call it Asperger's, like an Asperger's social group. You know, maybe that might help. For Sam, I created my own social groups. You know, that's why we run the live action role playing club. And it's really, really helped his communication. Really helped him. So practice this, model it, practice effective communication, conflict resolution, and collaboration in your relationships, both personally and professionally. And build strong connections with your children, and that's going to foster a sense of belonging and mutual support. It is worth the journey. I know it's tough, especially with some autistic kids and adults even. But it's not just autistic kids. I know, like I said, I have had a lot of struggles in that area. All right. So that is all with the emotional intelligence. Like I said, we are just scratching the surface. I know that there's a lot more to it. I bet that you could find a lot of resources on emotional intelligence, on EI. So I hope that gives you some encouragement. Now, that is all for that topic. That is all I have to share. So again, research EI. That's going to really help you, I think. It's something that, I'm going to keep my ear toward and keep working on. And then that's all. Thank you for listening to today's episode, and be sure to tune in next week. And I have to do a quick calculation. That would be April 30th. Tuesday, April 30th at 4:30 p.m. Mountain Time, 6:30 p.m. Standard Time. I'm barely getting this episode out in time. But anyway, so next week I plan on doing a practical teaching on how to help your children with writing difficulties, something that I definitely have struggled with my son. So tune in next week for that. All right. So with that, together, we will reach new heights in our lives and beyond, because there is hope, there is life, there is love, even in the midst of autism. Blessings to you. This is Dana Susan Beasley and Caspian downstairs, who's barking, signing off.